Thank you for joining us today on the program, Healthy Living. I'm Adesuwa Sawagie. How are you feeling? I need to ask you that question with the heat everywhere, you know, more so. No electricity. Like in my area, we barely have electricity like 30 minutes. Let's say 5–10 minutes and it's gone. And a lot of persons are scared of using generator. Now you know what fuel is talking. You know how much a liter of fuel is. I'm just wondering how many liters you're going to burn till morning. And so quite a number of persons are now resorting to solar fans, rechargeable fans, and all of that. So how are you faring as far as this heat is concerned? For me and some others, we're just coping. But what are the ailments or diseases or sicknesses that are related to heat? That's what we want to talk about today on the program Healthy Living. And joining me is a consultant family physician, Dr. Leonard Asikide, the CMD Ginard Medical Center, is here with us and is going to do justice to this topic. A pleasure to have you join us today, sir.
Thank you.
So how are you faring with the heat? Let me ask you the question.
Well, we coping, we are trying to cope, not coping. We are trying to cope, and just like you mentioned, I think you are even blessed for you to have light 30 minutes.
We're managing.
Where we live for 8 months now, we have not seen even a blink.
Electricity at all.
8 months plus.
That means you've been burning diesel, generator.
Where is the money to do that? Sometimes well, for those who have trees in their compound, they go sit under this tree. Sometimes we will climb looking for cold air.
You're looking for cold
but,
air.
You know, at this my age, I can no longer climb because if I fall and I break my bone, it will be terrible. So people are trying to cope by various means. Sometimes you see people on the street with no shirt. People may call them all kinds of names, but they're all trying to adapt to the very hot weather.
Okay. Is it that the ozone layer has depleted completely, or is almost depleted?
Well, those geographers have said we were depleting the ozone layer. Well, I think, and even ever since then, I don't think we've done much to replenish, because forest deforestation is still ongoing, and even, of course, now even if you want to plant trees, you can't enter the forest. Fulanis will use it for pepper soup.
Are you sure so that they are Fulanis? Just say bandits.
Okay, bandits. Let me not.
We don't know their tribe.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Bandits, we may use it for pepper soup. So.
Okay, let's look at the ailments or sicknesses related to hot weather. So we're doing understanding and preventing heat-related diseases today.
You know, when the weather is hot, the body tries to...
As hot as what we're experiencing now, because it was not like this before.
Sometimes it can be hotter. If you've ever been to Sokoto, in northern part of Nigeria, it's hotter than what we're experiencing here. Okay. When it's, you know, in a season like this. So when the body is experiencing extreme heat, what the body does is it tries to also adjust to see how it can regulate and protect itself. Okay. And that is why you experience, the common thing you experience is sweating. Now, as you sweat, you discover that if you don't replace what you are losing, you will become dehydrated. When you are dehydrated, it can affect other organs. For example, the kidney. You are not prone to developing kidney stones. Then when you talk about other systems, you can have heat exhaustion. You can have heat stroke. And in all this, you know, if you know what to do, at least to minimize the effect of the very hot weather, then you discover that you might be protected. Even the kind of drugs you take, you have to be mindful of them during this very hot weather. Okay, regardless of the drug. Some particular drugs. For example, if you are hypertensive, there are those who place on what we call diuretics. those are drugs that make you to pee more than probably you used to do.
Okay.
And as you pass more urine, of course, you're also losing water.
Losing water.
And as you lose water, you need to replenish. Again, for example, you're on a journey, you want to replenish. You discover that even a pure water now is, I think,
okay, some depend on the brand. Some 13 naira, some 250 naira,
and
some 300
if you
naira.
now want to probably take a bottle of water in Edo State, it's now 250.
250 naira.
Mm-hmm. So you discover that, and the salaries of the average worker or the government workers have not changed. And the little money they have to manage it to feed their family, you know, but the extra effort they need to put in will still cost more money. So oftentimes they may just drink any water that is available, and which eventually will still lead to diarrhea, and that will still lead to dehydration, what they are trying to prevent.
It's quite unfortunate, and this takes me back to the song Fela sang one time, one of the lyrics that water everywhere, no water to drink.
Good.
You know, it's quite unfortunate that at this point in time in our lives as a nation, we cannot boast of potable water, even now that the whole world needs it. Everybody is now relying on their personal boreholes. And those boreholes, most often the time, where it is situated is usually beside septic tanks in most houses. Now, that's another problem.
Yes, you see, that is why ideally, if you want to seek a borehole, you need to actually look for experts who have idea of where you are supposed to locate your borehole. At least 11 to about 12 feet from your septic tank. And it may be far from your own, but what about your neighbor? So you must look around, know where the septic tank of your neighbor is located before you site your borehole. And if you don't, you may discover that you just be, you know, taking in what do you call it now, whatever the other person is expelling, which is also dangerous to our health. So it's important that even in the course of trying to replace what you are leaving, you must ensure that what you are taking in is appropriate. Otherwise, you will have more problems. You know, even in this period, people need to know about basic things they need to do, at least to act as a cooling system, even in the absence of
electricity.
VDC. Now, this is not the time for people to be wearing thick clothing.
Okay.
In fact, as I was about coming in here, I didn't want to wear this dress. But for time, this was the one I could easily pick. Because we need something that is light.
I hope you weren't about to wear sleeveless to the studio.
Okay,
because
well,
that would have been very funny.
Okay. So you need to wear light clothing this period, because when you put on clothing that are thick, your air will not circulate in your body as much. Okay. So your system, your body system will not, you know, receive the necessary cooling that is important to the body. So, and like I said earlier on, you need to drink more water, because if you don't drink, I've mentioned, it will go to affect the entire system. For example, as you are sweating, apart from losing water, there are other elements you're also losing that are essential to the body, electrolytes that are going out of your body with sweating. And all this can lead to, you know, muscle cramps. It can lead to fatigue. And you discover that when the weather is too hot, you don't enjoy your sleep. You don't have a good sleep. So you wake up in the morning, you are not refreshed. And when you are not refreshed, if you are a driver, you can be prone to RTA, road traffic accidents, because you'll be sleeping on the steering because you didn't have a good night's sleep. And if you are maybe you are involved in jobs that are risky, you operate a machine, and in the night you didn't have a refreshing sleep, Of course, you may want to put cassava into the cassava engine. You do remember that your hand was already...
It's close to the engine.
Yeah, you close your eyes shortly because you didn't have a good nice... And you grind your fingers along with the cassava.
Wow.
So these are several issues that are associated with this very hot and difficult weather we find ourselves in our country.
Okay, our children are going back to school. They've been on midterm. They're going back to school tomorrow. And with this heat and all, how do we protect them? Because sometimes you still see some persons walking their kids on the streets under the hot sun and all of that. How do we protect these children?
Well, you see, I don't really blame such parents. The reason is that it's what they could afford. Nevertheless, I think there are simple ways. Get them a cap or a hat, something that covers the head round. That reduces the direct impact of the sun. For example, for those who have I don't want to cause problem on air, those people whose skin are very sensitive to...
Okay, the albinos and the rest of them.
I don't know whether it's right for me to use that
No,
word.
we need to. We're also doing this program for their own protection too.
Okay, so for the albinos, this time they should wear that kind of very cap that is very round and you know, large.
That type Don General uses.
Good. Okay. Also, no, that type of cap is good for them, and because their skin is very sensitive to the sun. To the sun. And if they don't learn to protect their skin, it can lead to skin cancers and what have you that can lead to early death. So, but for our children that are going to school, we need to we can give them a hat and ensure that their school uniform, the top is not too thick. Even the singlet they're going to wear, ensure it's light. And if you used to give them a small water bottle that may not last them till closing hour,
they should get
something extra for them, and you encourage them to drink. Encourage them to drink, and because if they are rehydrating, less problems they will have. So they should, and again, exposure to sun should be minimal while in school. This is not the time for you to engage the children in very exhaustive exercises, because the weather is naturally hot. They are losing plenty of fluid, and again, you now expose them for too long, for various sporting activities and what have you. So, and that will not be good for them. So, as they go back to school, ensure that you wear them the appropriate clothing.
All right. All of these conditions that you have mentioned, we've talked about stress, exhaustion, all of that, heat cramp, and okay, we didn't talk about heat stroke, though. So, what are the signs and symptoms we should watch out for?
Now, well, heat exhaustion can lead to heat stroke.
Okay.
For example, you're sweating, you are losing more fluid, you are not replacing the weather condition is very hot, especially at extremes of temperature of up to 40 degrees centigrade. Because right now the average temperature, like today in Benin City, is about almost 38 degrees centigrade. We're getting close to about 40. And at that temperature, that's when people experience more of heat exhaustion that can lead to heat stroke. And in all these, you could be feeling like vomiting, your pulse rate will increase, you feel easily tired, and you can lose your sensorium and even fall into unconsciousness.
Wow, is that bad?
Yes, and people have died of heat stroke. So when you have any of those symptoms, you should do the proper thing. Somebody was telling me today that night he wakes up like 4 or 5 times to have his bath. But again, that's not so good for your health, because you need to be properly refreshed so that you can be, maximally functional the next day.
Okay, what's the first aid we can give to anybody that is suffering from any of this condition as a result of the heat? what's the very, you know, like usually in our culture, so to speak, should I say social culture now, or because of social media, once something happens, like if somebody is experiencing like fainting spell or any other thing, the first thing people do is bring out their phones and start recording. Videoing. Yes, I don't know what for anyway. So what is the first aid we can give to adult children? Well,
if you are presenting at a hospital and the doctor suspects that this...
So now, before we go to the hospital, you know, it will happen on the streets, at home.
If it's happening at home,
the streets, at home,
the first thing is to give that man or woman space. Don't crowd around. If you see somebody collapse, you know, anywhere, please don't crowd around the individual. Don't attempt to carry him up like most of our people do. Okay. Leave him flat on the floor. I used to tell some of my junior ones that he that is down needs fear, no fall. So leave the man there. You know, nature has a way of trying to preserve life, okay, continuously. So when the man collapses, the body is just trying to regulate itself to see that you have more blood supply to the brain. Because while you are standing, you need more pressure to carry blood to the head. So, and once somebody collapses, you are flat on the ground, more blood will naturally flow to the vital organs and the brain. Okay. And give, like I said, don't crowd around the individual, and try to, if he's wearing tight clothing, putting on a tie, wearing maybe thick clothing and all those things, lose them. Is wearing a belt, lose the belt. Then, if you have a means of providing more air for the patient, please do so. But don't delay that patient or that individual. Don't delay that individual. Get the patient to the nearest hospital within 30 minutes. Get the patient there, and there are a few things the medical team will do. Of course, they will do one or two fast investigations that they will now decide whether they need to rehydrate. Okay. They will rehydrate the patient, and of course, within a short while, you see, even patients who are diabetic, for example, you know, some don't follow the prescription given to them. So they allow their blood sugar to rise, then they start passing more urine, they are losing more urine. And some, of course, they can easily also end up having what we call DKA, and the patient falls into unconsciousness. What's that? What's DKA? We need to explain to us what that means. Well, it simply means, the D is diabetic, K is keto, the A is acidosis. Oh, okay. So, and those are conditions you manage differently, you know, from what other conditions we just mentioned. So the basic thing to do in this hot weather, ensure you are rehydrating. Ensure you are rehydrating, and your pattern of dressing should also change. It also change, but that's not to mean that you should dress indecently or dress naked. Now we're talking about emergency cases, give the person space and all of that. Now, how do we get ambulances to convey these persons is another problem to the hospital. Because normally when there's an emergency like that, what we need is an ambulance, not personal cars or buses and taxis. That brings me to Nigerian emergency number. In fact, sometimes when I drive in town, I used to pray, God, don't allow anybody to fall sick who needs emergency attention. Look at what was happening between Main Gate and Wasuta or Technical Junction recently.
The terrible gridlock.
One of the days, my wife told me she spent almost 2 hours just to cross that area. Imagine if she was conveying somebody who was ill. Of course, the person would die inside the vehicle. And even when an ambulance is coming with a siren, our people don't listen. They don't even make way for ambulances. they will even be insulting you. Some will tell you are not carrying anybody. So I think we need to do more. We need to enlighten our people, you know, because for you to convey an emergency to hospital is a problem. But then there are hospitals virtually everywhere now. So the first thing to do, take that patient or the individual or the client to the nearest possible hospital where you arrange to convey. It's not every sick individual that you can put in any vehicle. Because there are specific positions for specific cases. And if you mismanage within that period of transportation to hospital, you can lose the patient. So ambulance system in Nigeria for now, I think it's like we don't really have any. The ideal thing government should do, in those days when we used to, I had the opportunity to draft something some time ago, and my projection was this: why can't we have an ambulance places like Eho, managed by the state government, properly equipped ambulance, if we care for the life of our people? Why can't we have one at Auchi area? Why can't we have one at Sapele Road area? Why can't we have one at, what do you call this place? This village before you get to Ondo? And those ambulances are stationed specifically for emergencies. Outside this country, like I used to, they even use a helicopter to convey people who need emergency care. But here, just common vehicle. All you need to equip that ambulance properly with all that is required. Put some paramedic staff there who knows what to do to any of the accident cases. Because oftentimes, when there is out a, one thing that kills the patient easily is when there is a major damage, when there's a damage to a major vessel, and the patient is bleeding. And most of the time, some people don't know what to do. So they just convey, and just like that. And no attempt to replace what is even going on. But if such ambulances are there, they are equipped, they will have fluids, they may even have blood.
And they help the person.
And help the person and convey to the nearest place. But
okay. Dr. Leonard Asekede, this is where I'm going to say a big thank you to you for finding time to be with us on the program today on Healthy Living.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for you, I hope you know what to do. Drink a lot of water, dress lightly, but don't go out naked or half nude.
Sorry, before you round up, there's one important thing.
Okay. Don't
leave your children inside the vehicle now.
Okay, that's very important, particularly those of you who do school run. All right, we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.